Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here today with the High Elven Archmage. She's going to be taking her force up against Norsca. This is Wyvern in command of the High Elves. I am commanding the Norscans, and yeah, I haven't featured the Archmage too much yet. The Lore of Metal one is particularly of interest to me, given that you can do something like this. Massive amounts of archers and Lothern Sea Guard. 4 archers, 4 Lothern Sea Guard. We've got spearmen and Silverin Guard for the front line. So yeah, just all spears, all bows, and then, what, 3 silver helms, I believe? 2 silver helms and an Illyrian Reaver. For myself, Wulfric the Wanderer plus another Mammoth. This is literally just a copy-paste of the Norscan build I used against Flying Taco. So yeah, double Mammoth, we've got Norscan Ice Wolves, Beasts of Tashnar, some Marauder Horsemen. And right off the bat, I'm going to come forward with my Marauder Ice Wolves, get a decent charge into those Silverin Guard, but even still, I get the Plague of Rust down to only 25 armor and just take a lot of damage there. The Silverin Guard even, just normally have decent enough AP values, but especially with that Plague of Rust, it's going to be pretty tough. But look at those sheets of bow fire coming in from the High Elves. It's going to be absolutely brutal here. Sorry about the lighting on this map, too. It's a little bit strange, but it gives an interesting flavor to the battle. I'm going to go ahead and call up the boats, do some nice damage to those Lothern Sea Guard, cut right through this block as well, kind of cut the corner there. That being said, Wulfric's taking a lot of damage, and I don't have the, any kind of damage resistance, like the Scroll of Shielding or anything to help resist this damage, so definitely taking it on the chin right now, but just trying to push through and get back in this back line, start to disrupt as many of these archers as we can. We're going to go ahead and throw Penumbral Pendulum here. Cut through a few of those Silver Helms as well, but yeah, just the overlapping lines of fire here are too much. Granted, the Plague of Rust being used on the Ice Wolf Chariots right at the start does mean that it didn't go on Wulfric, so he's still got his 70 armor helping to resist here, but this is not great for me. Ice Wolves are able to kind of block the charge, but still, looks like a final transmutation now going down that will do a lot of damage to both Wulfric and the Beasts of Tashnar, so good use of that there. Meanwhile, on the front line, the Mammoth is fighting. Bows are fighting. I'm doing my best to try and disrupt, kind of ping-pong my horsemen and hounds around to different targets, keep the terror routes going as much as possible, but things are definitely not looking great for Norsca. At least initially. Wulfric has taken a lot of damage, but the balance power is still pretty close. We can kind of push around some of these different mobile units and try and disrupt. The Silver Helms are pretty good at protecting this backline area. And my infantry force, unfortunately, you can see the Berserkers are pretty much gone. We've been able to break up this side pretty efficiently, but this side of the formation is still holding out quite well. Another Penumbral Pendulum there. Does a little bit of friendly damage, but yeah, still doing as much damage as I can to all these bow units. We're going to collapse on this side and just finish off these units here. And yeah, Double Mammoth still online. Wulfric is definitely very weak at this point, so I'm going to have to kind of play him back and play forward with the standard Mammoth, but I can see the High Elves just secure here, firing under the Norscans in the distance. These Norscan Warhounds, or no, those are actually Silver Helms. Kind of hard to see in the dark. Boat's going to come through and once again cut through the formation, do quite a bit of damage to multiple units there, but still it's not looking great. Balance power starting to turn against me as this secondary Mammoth takes damage. And the Silver Helms are pushing through now. I'm not sure where the Plague of Rust is at the moment. But the Archmage just chilling back. I love the Archmage's looks too. Look, there's the Plague of Rust. Probably, yep, on that War Mammoth, putting it down to 10 armor. All those bows will be doing pretty much their full damage. Just absolutely beautiful. I have to say, I love the skins for the Archmages. Like how they have the unique color schemes, and the dresses have these like cool stars on them. I don't know, it feels very thematic. And this build, doesn't even have any single entity monsters, which I'm sure will make some people happy. It's just a bunch of elves, some magic, and that's it. Some bows and spears and magic. Kind of follow the Mammoth as he makes his last push into this giant box of archers here. We've still got plenty of Silverin Guard, I believe, hanging around as well. Maybe not. Just some spearmen. Yeah, there are a few Silverin Guard over here. And some more Silver Helms and so on. Wulfric goes down to the bows. And that will be game. Big boy falls. Unfortunately, the Shadow Famir also got hard countered by Silver and Guard, as I mentioned in my last video about this matchup. It is absolute hard counters, so yeah, fun stuff. Wyvern takes home the victory there, and a beautiful showcase of the Metal Archmage for you all to enjoy. And this build, I think I might steal. I mean, again, it doesn't have any terror, and Wyvern and I were talking. It'd be nice to have some armor piercing, so you're not completely reliant on that Plague of Rust. So I was saying, and he agreed, maybe just change out one or two of these Silver Helms for some War Lions. That could give you, the mobile armor piercing that you need to kind of help defend your backline from whatever. But still, very, very nice build. All of this anti-large, all of this bowfire. This build would honestly probably be pretty good against a few factions. Like, speaking as an Empire player as well, I think this build could potentially give you problems there. Like, there's nowhere for your cavalry to land, right? There's not really a lot of high-value targets to shoot at. So it's an interesting one. It's a wide High Elves build, which is not something you typically see. So I definitely want to try out something like this going forward. And yeah, for myself, for my Norscan build, I do think more like a wider, more mobile, less monster-focused build could potentially give this High Elf build some problems, but it's not a guarantee, certainly. I do have one more replay to get to today, though. Quick double cast, so let's get to it. And we're back now with Lithnar and his Shadow Walkers. That's right, we're taking Nagarath, and we're up against the Lizardmen. Again, utilizing Lore of Metal here. We've got a Metal Mage with Lore of Metal, obviously. Plague of Rust immediately going to be popped by Mazdamundi, on Mazdamundi in the distance, rather. And we're going to start to light him up with the Shadow Walkers. And with Lithnar, Moonbow comes in, does some pretty good damage. So yeah, that's the combo I'm looking for. We've got some Illyrian Reavers as well. Rangers, because they kind of aesthetically and thematically fit in to Lithnar. They're here. Fight. We've also got a Lion Chariot, Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, and Manticore Summoner as well, Mage Lore of Beasts. So for Lizardmen, obviously, Mazdamundi, we've got a couple of Sacred Boxagors, some Skink Cohorts, a couple Saurus Warrior, one Saurus Warrior, Star Chamber Guardians, and also some Skink Cohort with Javelins. Cold One Spear Rider, 2 Saurus Scarvets, also on Cold Ones. And right off the bat, we're going to be throwing the Bolt Thrower shots into the Sacred Croc Scores a little bit. Unfortunately, this line doesn't really have any armor piercing or anti-large, so those box scores can get in here and get a lot of damage done. But Mazdamundi trickle healing himself. We're going to kind of blob in the Reavers over here just to get a charge. We absolutely melt those Skink Cohort. The Cold Ones come in, though, do some pretty good damage. And I'm going to leave these Reavers here blobbed up for probably a little bit too long. I really probably should have already pulled away and tried to cycle charge in this engagement, but the Chariot comes through, gets some good damage done. Once again, Plague of Rust on Mazdamundi. Only 70 armor, quote-unquote only, because he has so much to begin with, but still, that will allow these bows to do quite a bit more damage. Shadow Walkers are not the most cost-efficient units in multiplayer in terms of their costs, but a nice banishment goes down here. We're going to go ahead and summon up a Manticore. This frontline engagement also not going great for me, as you would imagine. I mean, the Rangers are able to beat some Skink Cohort here on the side, but the Krog Score is definitely pushing through. They're going to be getting into my backline very shortly, but at the very least, we've pretty much managed to finish off Mazdamundi. He's still got that Plague of Rust active. Leadership has been broken now, despite the Cold-Blooded, and I believe this is it for him. Last volley, potentially. Yep, down he goes. So Mazdamundi already been picked off here. That being said, I mean, I'm still not super confident about my chances to try and win this. We're going to go ahead and get rid of these Sacred Box Scores with the Summon Manticore, but likewise, my Manticore caster has kind of caught up a little bit here by these Star Chamber Guardians, so I probably won't be able to get another Manticore. Likewise, the Cold Ones are pushing through very aggressively, getting on my Shadow Walkers and starting to rout them off. We need to get these Illyrian Reavers back in the fight to help mass block. Although the Cold One Riders are relatively squishy, they're going to take some damage in this engagement as well. We're also using the Decoy to kind of break up the advance here, distract enemies' attacks. But yeah, Bolt Thrower getting shut down at this point. Not great for me. We're bringing these Rangers back to try and salvage it, but it's definitely pretty close. Balance power is heavily in my favor at this point, though, as we've managed to rout Mazdamundi and a lot of these units out on the open field routing as well. The Shadow Walkers still have plenty of ammunition left at this point, so getting some nice work in, and the War Lion Chariots as well. I've been mismarkering them a bit, again, like I usually do. But here we got a Plague of Rust on the Saurus Scarvet. The Illyrian Reavers are able to charge in. They don't do all that much damage, though. I'm going to quickly just pull away and try and use the bows to do the damage instead. You can see Lithnar and the Shadow Walkers all shooting. With that Plague of Rust active, it'll do some damage, at least to this guy, but it looks like that's probably going to wear off relatively shortly here. Meanwhile, the Manticore caster's done, the Rangers come in, and even over here, like, we're able to get a pretty decent engagement. They trade okay against the Saurus, but still the Saurus will win that engagement in the long run. Balance power has stabilized somewhat for the Lizardmen. And just trying to use up the last of my ammunition on the Shadow Walkers. It's going to be very, very close. Alithnar also taking a bunch of damage does not help things. Trying to keep him away from these Scarvets, who he definitely does not want to fight, but the Reavers, yeah, they're going to be the ones to have to kind of sacrifice here, which is also not great. I really need their mobility and mass blocking to try and chase units off, but at the same time, saving myself from those Scarvets is going to be very, very important. So, Searing Doom called down here does some actually pretty nice damage to those Star Chamber Guardians, all things considered, but the Metal Mage also needs to stay mobile and not get too caught up here. Looks like she is actually on horseback there. But again, I'm kind of trying to shoot in here with the Shadow Walkers, but because of the line of sight blockage, they're actually not using up any of their ammo. Definitely should be shooting at these Sacred Croc scores right now. As it is, we're just about able to break these Saurus over here. No, actually, it looks like they're going to break the Rangers instead. Again, very unfortunate, but another Plague of Rust on those Croc scores. Don't have enough for an Overcast, but just a regular Plague of Rust will bring them down to 70 armor. We can continue to pepper them with these Shadow Walkers here. It's going to be very, very close, guys. We've summoned up another decoy to help break up these units as Lithnar kind of scurries away here. The Sacred Croc scores actually do get enraged from that bowfire and have taken decent damage, but again, I need to just continuously pull back with these Shadow Walkers. One of the units down to only 29 models, but we'll see how it goes in the late game here. Can Lithnar and his Rangers, Shadow Walkers, actually finish the day? Got a handful of Reavers here. Oh man, those Sacred Croc scores are so scary. But the Lore of Metal, yeah, I mean, probably don't have enough Winds of Magic left. Maybe for like one more Plague of Rest, potentially. Moonbow comes in, doesn't get the best contact on that Saurus Scarvet, but still was enough to potentially rout him off here. Reavers come down, get a nice charge on the Skink Cohort with jabs, and yeah, Shadow Walkers just going on fire at will at this point, going to use up the last of their ammunition shooting at whatever here. Star Chamber Guardians with only 85 armor actually would be pretty good targets. And I do need to keep Alithnar away. He shoots his bow point blank, takes out a few models there as he's kind of like a bolt thrower, right? Speaking of bolt throwers, bolt thrower crew is about to get eaten by the last of the Saurus there. Balance power starting to turn against me somewhat as a lot of these units start to run out of ammo. The balance power will turn against me. But the Shadow Walkers have each gotten a chevron, right? So they have all definitely paid for themselves. Another Plague of Rust going to go down here, take them down to only 55 armor. Last of the shot's going to be used, and we're going to go ahead and actually charge. Obviously, the Shadow Walkers do have anti-infantry, and pretty decent combat stats, 40 and 43. 43 and 40, rather. But yeah, they get in here and actually just quickly break those Star Chamber Guardians, which is just great. That being said, Lithnar getting chased around again by these Saurus Scarvets is not the best, so I'm going to go ahead and get the Shadow Walkers to try and protect the Lithnar. He does still have a few bow shots left, so he can do some good damage. Likewise, the Metal Mage on her horse here can get in and do some good damage. She does count as large, so she will be subject to their bonus versus large. Ooh, takes a big old nasty hit right there. Let's see, this is pretty much the pitched late game engagement, right? We summon the decoy, again, just to help break up this advance, distract the attacks as much as possible. The mage is going to pull away here. Shadow Walkers kind of pulling away in one aspect, and then charging into these skinks in another. I love the dual hand weapons with the poison tips. It looks so cool. Alithnar also charges in. And will we get a break here? Balance power quickly stabilizes back towards even as a lot of these skinks break. The Star Chamber Guardians are gone. These Saurus are coming back, but the Sacred Croc scores are gone. It's pretty much just the Saurus Scarvets here still holding. And one of them has Cold-Blooded, one of them does not. The one with Cold-Blooded has barely any HP left, less than 300 HP, but he does finish off Alithnar. Oh no! Alithnar going down is a disaster. That's going to lead to leadership issues for the High Elves. You can see immediately one of the units of Shadow Walkers wants to rout. One of them, though, still 43 models, still very, very healthy in this late game here. Will they be able to finish off these Scarvets? Oh man, that Cold-Blooded just barely barely wears off. That guy breaks. This other one, though, is still fighting, about 1200 HP left. And look at this. A unit of Sacred Croxagors comes back. It's so close right now, guys. So close. So one thing, I'm going to make another mistake here, and this is honestly the mistake that probably cost me the game in the end here. Spoiler alert, balance power is going to prove true here, and getting separated with this unit of Shadow Walkers is definitely a bad idea. They get separated here. They are able to break this unit of Saurus, but getting rear charged by the Sacred Croxagors without the support of this other unit of Shadow Walkers, who's still very healthy, definitely could have broken those Sacred Croxagors. And then with the two of these units together, we perhaps could have broken the Saurus Scarvet. Even still as it is, the Saurus Scarvet's taking some hits. We'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit as we continue to chase him. Here come the Sacred Croxagors. And yeah, you can see because of the poison, and we're actually doing effective damage to him because of the martial prowess being that high melee attack, 43 still. Pretty good, but here it comes. The last charge of the Croxagors. The paddle fists come in. Rock'em Sock'em Crocodiles just pummeling these Shadow Walkers, and their leadership just can't take the shock damage. They take too much of their percentage of their HP, you know, too quickly, which leads to leadership issues and a very close defeat for Nagarath here. So definitely a super fun game with Wyvern. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. It's definitely a ton of fun to play. A little bit disappointing there at the finish. A little bit of better RNG, I feel, could have maybe saved me there, like with Lithanar and such. But anyway, it is what it is. All of the Shadow Walkers ended up getting an XP chevron, so that's pretty good. I mean, the Lion Chariot was okay. I do think I would have been better off to maybe trade this out for some other units, like maybe, I don't know, try and maybe bring like a Silverin Guard or something. Just something to help fight the infantry a little bit more convincingly. And Silverin Guard, I think, actually will trade okay with Saurus. So yeah, that would have been better. The Lion Chariot, although it did get some kills, you know, it wasn't definitely the best. The Bolt Thrower was okay. It's kind of meant to just draw the Lizardmen into position, provide some extra pressure, which it definitely did. But yeah, the lore of metal combination with the Shadow Walkers is definitely something that I want to try going forward. It'd probably be even better, obviously, with Shadow Warriors, just because they're a little bit more cost-efficient in terms of their ammo, I think. I'd have to do the math and actually check, but regardless, hopefully you guys enjoyed this Lore of Metal High Elves doublecast. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.